So Shonen Jump done canceled some more series, and I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna say what a lot of people been feeling regarding Shonen Jump, or Shueisha, the publication that houses all these things, bro. It's looking pathetic at this point as far as Shonen Jump consistently canceling things, and the status and the state of the magazine and everything that it houses as of right now. It just feels horrible. Like, we are at such a crazy situation at this particular point with what has become of this publication that most people really aren't understanding exactly what's happening right now. Because, well, let's read exactly what was canceled, and I'll give you guys an insight into exactly what's been going on with Shonen Jump and where we're at with it right now. Because according to the article, it says Shonen Jump cancels major 2026 series before it got to end its story. Shueisha's weekly Shonen Jump magazine has now canceled its third major series of 2026. Mind you, we're still very early on in here, but this one didn't even try to end its story. It's now the start of a new quarter for Shonen Jump, and that means they're going to get ready to introduce some new serializations in the hopes that they take off with fans. Already revealing plans to release 3 new works this April. That means 3 more series are going to end, but it's either going to be under their own volition or through an early cancellation. And that's the case for Shuhei Tanizaki's Gonrong Egg, which started out strong with the magazine with a unique science fiction fantasy world, but has now been canceled with the release of chapter 21. While some manga face cancellation with a quick end to their stories, Gonrong Egg goes the opposite route and ends with the tease that there's a much bigger battle in the future that fans will never get to see now that it's gotten the axe. Totally reminds me of Hungry Joker back in the day. They did the exact same thing. Gonrong Egg fans have been seeing the end of the series coming for quite some time now, as the manga seems to be struggling under the weight of its weekly serialization demands. Things seem to be speeding along even more with a time skip only a few months into its run, and then it confirmed to be the case as it was kicking off the final battle of the series. But with the release of chapter 21, the final chapter reveals that the final battle was really only the start of a much bigger war on the horizon that fans will never get to see. Some creators choose to quickly wrap up their ideas, which seemed to be the case with the quick start of its final battle, but it seems like this one instead wants to hype fans for a future that'll never happen regarding this series. Shonen Jump has ended 4 series in 2026 thus far, while Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo was able to wrap up its story. Oteru of the Flame and Harukaze Mound were cancelled in the same way that Gonrong Egg just was. There is a potential for more cancellations, but there is also the potential that a few long-running franchises will reach their end as well. Both Sakamoto Days and Blue Box are now in their final days, and their ends could be happening as soon as this month as well. And so yeah, basically Shonen Jump just ended another series very early on, and it kind of makes you look at, like, not even just Shonen Jump, but Shueisha as a whole and all of its different conglomerate series that it has attached to it. Where are we going with this thing? What is the plan at this point? You gotta wonder, what are the higher ups thinking when they're just continuing on and on? We have reached the point where, for starters, like, the previous gen is down to its last series. Black Clover, which might be ending within the next month or two, is the last one of this previous gen that was kind of mixed with a previous gen before that, or the prior gen with like My Hero Academia and stuff like that. And then of course we had the Jujutsu Kaisen era, so like those two kind of merged together, but they were still significantly different time periods in my opinion that just kind of all coincided after a certain point. But Black Clover is the last one, so you're not allowing any of these newer series to kind of reach significant points, or very few of these newer series to reach certain points. There's only like probably 2 series right now in the big magazine that are newer series that actually have potential to make, you know, some type of ground, cover some ground as far as in a significant fashion once they get their anime adaptations. But aside from that, Shonen Jump doesn't have anything like back in the days where you would have, you know, whether it be the Big 3 generation, whether it be the My Hero Black Clover generation. There's really not much, let alone a long laundry list where you could say, like, you know, back in the days you would have not only the Big 3, but then you would have Reborn, you would have this one, that one, like you would have a selection of series if you wasn't really into the biggest series that they had and they housed. Now it's like, where are we at with this thing? What's happening here? Like, One Piece, of course, is there and is going to continue to exist. Yeah, whatever. That also isn't really in its, you know, peak of what it was as far as success goes anymore either. What is Shonen Jump and Shueisha's overall goals? Kaiju number 8 came to an end. I could go on and on and on the series that have ended, series that are coming to an end, and it really just makes you think like, yo bro, they're not really like, because at the end of the day, in order for series to reach the status that they would ideally like as far as success goes, right, is that a series has to collect a certain amount of chapters chapters, roughly 70 to 100 chapters in order for the anime adaptation to truly kick off and begin. Once that happens, then the anime also has to have some sort of catapulting moment to reach the mainstream level in order for this thing to really go to where you need it to be. But if series aren't even able to make it to this point, and on top of that, all of the prior series are coming to an end as well, you gotta wonder, what's the plan? Go for originals? Do they truly believe in some of this stuff that they have in the magazine? That, again, outside of like, I can only really think of 2 series that are more than likely, I don't want to say guaranteed, but they're pretty much going to be successful in some form or another. They're already selling very well in the magazine. Aside from that, there's not really anything in Shonen Jump anymore that is like a must read. And this is coming from somebody that's still, if there's a series that is awesome and I like, I'm gonna continue with it. Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo, for example, was something that was hype. You know, it was dope for what it was, and it had the entire community back again talking every single week or whatnot. That's gone. Shonen Jump really doesn't have too much left to offer as far as like these newer titles, and as far as like previous series is like, where are we going with this whole thing? You gotta wonder, what is the end goal with the higher ups? Like, we still have other series and other magazines. Dragon Ball Super, if it ever returns, that'll be something big, so I guess that's something that they have waiting in the pipeline, so to speak. And of course, you got Boruto that still has hype, no matter what anybody want to say, and we'll talk about Boruto and that stuff in a second. But like, you got a few series still lingering around that kind of can hold some stuff up, but none of the new stuff is even like selling crazy like it used to either. Like, I got to imagine that one of the best bets that they're hoping on is, even if the manga ain't a major hit at the moment, which you would think like, okay, for example, the series that they just ended right now, like, you know, giving it time to continue onward would have made sense or whatnot. But I'm guessing that they're just like, all right, the big bet is the anime at this point. Even if it's not selling well, if the anime takes off, it doesn't matter. And they're probably also looking at it from a perspective of a global standpoint of, maybe the manga in Japan might not be jumping off the pages, but the audiences globally, you know, whether it be America, France, whatever the case may be, those audiences might be very different and have different tastes than the manga readers in Japan. And that's what I'm imagining is like one of their biggest bet, again, outside of like a couple of series that they haven't Jump, and of course, like, you know, Boruto that's still going and stuff like that, because Shueisha, Shonen Jump, they're not moving like the way they used to. And it's, I don't want to keep on using this word, but it feels pathetic of the higher ups to just continue on leaving things as is. It's like, what are y'all doing out there? Why aren't y'all fixing this situation? Why aren't y'all making sure that this is gonna remain? Because Shonen Jump, of course, and Shueisha has been number one. They've been the top for a long time. Why aren't they doing anything about it to make sure that it sustains that way? Gotta make you wonder, what's the goal? What's the end game? I'm very curious. Like, please, if you have any idea, you watching right now, what is their end goal? Or what do you think they're trying to accomplish? How can this maneuver around? Because even with the couple of promising series that they have incoming right now that are selling decently or whatnot, is that going to be enough to maintain an entire magazine where majority of the other stuff doesn't really have much of a buzz or hype? And Shueisha has just ended so many big long-running titles. Like, what are they doing here? What do you think is going to happen? Let me know, and make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can get more anime and manga news and all of that good stuff in the world of Forever News. But yeah, this was something that I felt was important to cover, not necessarily just about this series ending, but the status of Shonen Jump as it stands as right now, 2026. Shit is crazy. Shit is not looking great. They need to fix this now, like not later on, because that's when you will see the collapse and the end of a dynasty, so to speak. You need to do this now. But moving forward, we got some news in the world of Boruto and Naruto, because the new Boruto and Naruto channel is off to a decent start. It's doing well or whatnot, but there's been a significant, I guess, back and forth within the fandoms that has been going on for a while now. I've covered it several times on the channel, in terms of the fact that because it's a Naruto and Boruto channel, both fandoms are expecting to get, you know, serviced, so to speak, with content to promote each series. However, the channel so far has, to my understanding, primarily only posting Naruto type of content up until this point, and it's gotten some of the Boruto fandom very upset. I'm gonna unsubscribe if you don't talk about Boruto some more. They don't put some Boruto stuff out there. And it's just kind of like, you gotta look at it from a standpoint of, between the two franchises, said it multiple times, Naruto is the breadwinner. Like, the Father series is the one that brings in the money. The Son series, it does do what it does. It has kept the franchise afloat in the minds of many for the most part, but it's Naruto. Right now, with them doing that, it's to show the fact that, well, one, they probably have a strategy. I'm gonna just be honest. They probably have a strategy of, hey, wake up the Naruto fandom, remind them that they love this shit, even though Netflix has done a pretty decent job of that, if I do say so myself, of like, yo, dog, it's one of the most watched or rewatched or whatever the case on the platform, so it's still there. But this is kind of also, again, to like just remind people like, yo, come back to the series, come back to the franchise, we got some good stuff cooking. And then I'm sure as Boruto related stuff approaches, like the anime announcement and the manga gets to a pivotal moment, because it's doing some crazy stuff right now, but when it gets to like major moments, they'll probably start moving forward towards promoting more Boruto. But Boruto fans sometimes just do unnecessary stuff of like, yo, bro, y'all under the same umbrella, so to speak, but you gotta remember that no matter what, Naruto is the one that makes the money. Naruto is the big conglomerate. Y'all under the Naruto franchise, with Boruto being a spin-off under the franchise. And that's just what it is. Same way that, you know, Naruto fans got to accept that for the longest time they haven't had an ongoing manga, they haven't had an ongoing anime. Boruto had an anime for a long time without Naruto having one. Just the characters, some of the characters being somewhat a part of the story. Boruto has to accept that Naruto is the big, you know what I'm saying, is the big homie that makes shit happen. And at the same time, at some given point, it'll go a route where Naruto is going to take back the realm, and Naruto is going to take back the helm of this whole series, this whole franchise. It's going to go back to Naruto regardless. So I think Boruto fans should just appreciate while you're having the spotlight, while you're having the moment, because like, great, Naruto gets some, you know, trailers of some old shit that happened. Naruto gets some shorts of some old shit that happened that we rewatched a trillion times, which is awesome. And I'm happy that it shows that they're interested, you know, the higher ups, in promoting Naruto. Boruto has an ongoing manga still. Appreciate that aspect. I think all of the back and forth for years now, it's been trivial, it's been nonsensical. It's like, it just is what it is. They'll put Boruto stuff when they're ready. I think we do have some really great stuff in the works, of course, if they ever happen, because at this point it's like, gets a little bit hopeless sometimes when you think about, they announced those Naruto OVAs like 6 billion years ago. We're still waiting on them. The Boruto anime, of course, return is going to be a big deal whenever the Boruto manga gets to some pivotal moments that everybody's waiting for. We're not going to say what it is. We know what it is, but we don't want to get Boruto fans mad either about that. There's stuff that when it happens, it's going to be amazing. If Boruto gets a movie, it's going to be huge and stuff like that. Just best advice for both fandoms, but in particular the Boruto fandom that are pissed about the Naruto Boruto channel really only doing Naruto stuff, is just chill. It'll happen. Just chill. Moving forward, Bleach fans, we've got some stuff to talk about, because for starters, we got new word from Tite Kubo. He went a little bit without saying too much, and then recently we got something from the club outside where Kubo said, I'm working on various things related to the novel. I also suggested something a bit fun and interesting. I'm curious if he's talking about the novel stuff that is being adapted into the anime, or if he's talking about that new novel that they announced recently, because that just kind of crossed my mind right now. Like, he might be talking about that new novel. There's a new Bleach novel that's incoming, and he might be talking about that he's doing some fun stuff there. But if he's talking about various things related to the novel adaptation in the anime, it could be he's adding more ideas to the whole Rukia Renji stuff. We gotta wait and see. But regardless of what, it's just another demonstration of Kubo is cooking. Let homie cook. Don't rush the process. As much as we want more Bleach this and Bleach that, homie is cooking. Staying busy is one of the best things possible. I gotta add that in there, because sometimes people be like, you know, we've said it before, oh, Kubo's lazy, why isn't he doing more? Where's Burn the Witch? Where's the Bleach continuation? What's happening here? Homie is staying busy and doing himself a service, and that's the best thing we could ask for people that are creatives, because a lot of creatives, let's be honest here, you know, staying still and doing nothing is the worst thing. Let Kubo do his thing, let him cook, let him stay busy in what he wants to do, and he'll bring some fire. The fact that he's working on stuff like this just shows that he hasn't lost the passion. Some authors, they don't give a shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? You don't hear that every author, when their anime adaptation is incoming or that their new content is coming, that they're involved. They just let the powers that be take over and run the show. Kubo is still very much so passionate about Bleach, which is a good sign that new Bleach stuff will come eventually, because he's not done with it and he's having fun. That's a major sign that there's a lot more to come for this franchise. Then we also got word in a Q&A from his club outside that he apparently revealed that Kon is not the only modified soul who survived. There are other mod souls out there who escaped the Shinigami's extermination campaign. It's an interesting tidbit because this could be something related to that new novel that's incoming. It could be something that they might incorporate into the anime. Again, we know that they're doing more of the novel stuff in the anime, and there's going to be some original stuff, so it could very well be introducing things. This could be something totally just unrelated, just a thought that Kubo had, or this could be something major for the future. Like right then and there, that whole concept alone, introducing that, yo, it wasn't just Cone, there's more, which I want to say, was there fillers of this? I feel like there was some filler stuff that happened with this. Either way, it's an interesting concept and an idea that could be incorporated for, it could be a movie down the road. It could be, you know, an original whatever. Like there's so many different things that could be done when you just incorporate an idea like that. Like it wasn't only Cone, there's more. If there was more out there, they could be very strong if they have the right, you know, scenario set up. So very interesting stuff. Yet again, showcasing Kubo is cooking. And then lastly, another extension of something that we spoke about recently. Aizen's voice actor Sho Hayami confirmed in an interview that his voice dubbing for Core 4 has been super intense, and we will see Aizen do new things we've never seen him do before in the series. I'm very interested in that. That's a very good sign that for fans that wanted things to be a little bit more detailed regarding certain battles, this could be the case. For fans that wanted to see Aizen do certain things, I ain't gonna lie, we all know that when Aizen comes in and it's gonna get hectic. I'm just curious what they're gonna do as far as for new things. I gotta imagine it's abilities that we're gonna see that he hasn't done before. I don't think he's just referring to like from, you know, oh, we haven't seen it in the anime, but it was already done in the manga. And also the fact that it's super intense. Yeah, if you know, you know. Things get very real in certain points of this story, and it's gonna get hectic. So yeah, Aizen is about to be badass. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about all of this Bleach news. Do you think that that Cone situation, as far as more modified souls, we're gonna see more of those show up in the series at some given point, whether it be incorporated into like anime original stuff for the anime, something for that new novel, or just something entirely different, maybe in the sequel series or whatever? What do you think? Do you think Kubo is more so referring to like original stuff for this novel, or is he talking about the novel stuff that's going to be adapted into the anime? Your thoughts on that, and any predictions for what Aizen is going to be doing that is new that we haven't seen before. Moving forward, some very interesting stuff in the world of Invincible. As of the recording of this video right now, the new season of Invincible is ongoing. It's very, very awesome. I'm not even gonna lie, it's hectic, crazy, and yeah, it's been one heck of a ride thus far. With that being said, there's been a discussion that's been going on around the fact that Invincible's budget that they utilize for the series in comparison to another very popular title, Jujutsu Kaisen, is massively different. Because it says here, fans are confused on why Invincible has quote-unquote worse animation than Jujutsu Kaisen, yet it has 10 times the budget. Because according to this, which I don't think that this is accurate at all on the side of Jujutsu Kaisen. I mean, it could be, but according to this, Jujutsu Kaisen costs $150,000 per episode, while Invincible costs 2.5 mil per episode. And if you compare the two, it's very clear as day that Jujutsu Kaisen's art and animation is on a whole other level. That's not to say that it's a better series, a better story, anything like that. We're just talking the aesthetics of art and animation. The fluidity is insane. Like Jujutsu Kaisen season 3 was phenomenal so far. Like it was just incredible. But there's a couple of things to look into this fact. And at the end of the day, above all else, enjoy your shows. Like let's be very clear, because sometimes people want to just, you know, take the fun out of everything. Can we just enjoy? Can we just have some fun sometimes, even if it's a little bit, you know, some of these series be a little cray or whatever, but can we just enjoy? Like let's put that at the forefront, because most of the time a lot of this stuff is for entertainment, right? But with that being said, Jujutsu Kaisen is done by Mappa Studios. Invincible is done by, I'm not sure exactly which studio, but of course it's an Amazon title, which is a very, very, you know, major conglomerate. So let's be very clear that Amazon has the money to do whatever the heck they want. If they want to put 10 million in episode, they want to incorporate that, they can do that. But I don't think that's necessarily the issue, because at the end of the day, it's also a business. The investment got to make sense, right? Mappa Studios has been notorious. We've seen it, heard it, all sorts of stuff of the way they maneuver with their staff, how they utilize their staff. And bottom line is that MAPPA Studios, well, I guess I'm gonna say it the most blunt way possible, they slave their animators. We've seen Attack on Titan's director. We've seen what it is. We've heard the horror stories of them being locked in the compound, working day and night tirelessly to make it happen. We experienced this hellhole that was MAPPA Studios of working around the clock nonstop, and it was a nightmare for a lot of these animators. So on top of that fact is the fact that the pay. We've heard, what was it, a while back, there was a trailer that was done for an anime, like a 2-minute trailer, and homie said he got paid like literally a couple of dollars for that. Like not a couple $100,000, not $20,000, not $5,000, a couple of dollars for a trailer, which takes an enormous amount of time. Bottom line is MAPPA Studios, and it doesn't sound great for them at all, but they just don't take care of their animators and they don't pay them as great as they're supposed to. On the opposite side of things, Invincible, we don't necessarily know what the studio behind that is paying these animators or what the situation is like, but the inflated budget, a lot of people assume, and it sounds legit, is the fact that they get high class or high quality or just in general high level celebrities to voice certain characters and play certain characters. Like the dude that plays Mark Grayson, Invincible himself, we know that that is a very major actor, significant celebrity, so to speak, that are voicing these characters. They had, what is it, Jesse from Breaking Bad? They had homie playing one of these characters. At some given point, they had Jesse up in that bad boy. So yeah, it's gonna cost more to get those big names to come in and you know, play a role or whatnot. Jujutsu Kaisen, don't get me wrong, they're like considered rock stars over there, the voice actors or whatnot, but they're not gonna ask for an insane amount of pay because also they guarantee, you know, like a 24 episode season. And the anime industry is just vastly different. Bottom line, MAPPA be on some slave the animators, be cheapskates, all sorts of bull crap. Invincible Studio, like, yo, we got $1 trillion, let's get, you know what I'm saying, let's get Morgan Freeman, you know what I'm saying, let's get whatever big celebrity I don't think Morgan Freeman was in Invincible, just making an example. Point being is that they get the biggest names out there to attract with Invincible, and again, it's Amazon, bro. Amazon could do whatever the heck they want. They got so much money behind them, they don't care. MAPPA Studios, yeah, they're lit, but they're not Amazon. And at the same time, they, you know, some cheapskate stuff. Let's just be honest here. And Mr. Beast decided to chime in. Jujutsu Kaisen is definitely not 150 an episode. That's capped. I agree. I don't think it is. I mean, I could be wrong. And don't get me wrong, everything that I said still stands with how MAPPA treats the employees and all that stuff. But I'd imagine it could possibly be double that. Like the art and animation is just insane. The amount of time that it would take, even if they're paying them peanuts, it still would take a lot of time to make stuff happen. Regardless of what, shout out to both of them because they're both great series, and yeah, no point for the fandoms to be going at each other's necks. Like, why? So according to this news, one of the voice actors from Attack on Titan calls Attack on Titan a scam. They call Attack on Titan a scam, and we're gonna get into it. Let's just read it. It's one of the major voice actors. It's Aaron's voice actor. It says here, the 4th season was released from 2020 to 2023, spanning across 2 parts and 2 special episodes. Although the main story is already over in both the anime and manga versions, the series often returns with new releases. The anime kicks off 2026 with a theatrical release of a Dolby Cinema remastered version of Attack on Titan, the final chapter, The Last Attack, which hit theaters January 9th. Director Hayashi Yuichiro, along with the voices behind Eren, Mikasa, and Armin, were present during the opening day stage greeting, where Kaiji joked about the anime being a scam. He said, "I'm sure this scam of adding more and more to it and then ending it will continue to be repeated. I look forward to seeing you again even after 10 years or 2,000 years. So just shut up and charge ahead with Attack on Titan. We will continue to fight. Please continue to support Attack on Titan in the future." And I mean, it's a humorous thing, but there is a bit of truth in it at the end of the day. Even the whole concept of the final season was essentially a scam, so to speak, because it was the final season, and then the final season part 2, and then the final season part 3, and then the final season we swear part 1, and then the final season we ultimately promisely swear part 2. Like, there was a lot of the final season of Attack on Titan. It's like, bro, are you gonna let them be free or not? Like, well, what are we doing here? Obviously, the voice actor meant it in a humorous way, since no matter how many times the story returns to the theater, fans are always eager to watch it once again. Thanks to the studio's incredible adaptation and minor changes from the creator, the dissatisfaction towards the ending vanished significantly. After a controversial ending, Isayama was part of the production, hoping to meet fans' expectations. The series' popularity skyrocketed after that, even to the point of receiving the first ever Global Impact Award at Crunchyroll Awards 2025. Although the story ends after implying the continuation of the cycle, it doesn't appear that Isayama has any plans further to expand the story with a spin-off or sequel as of yet. In case you missed that video, go check it out. I talked about it where Isayama said all he had to say with Attack on Titan. There ain't gonna be no more. If anything, he doesn't even really want to do manga anymore for that matter, because it's like, bruh, what other story can I tell that isn't gonna be a retread of all of the concepts that he put into Attack on Titan? I gotta say, to a certain degree, that's cap. Like, if homie wanted to put like some super comedic series out right now, how would that retread over Attack on Titan? Like, if he just decided like, yo dog, he's having a laughing fit and decides that he wants to just make a whole bunch of jokes and make a comedy series, that's a bag he could get into. There's always more stories to be told. Like, sure, the concept and idea of like, there's only 7 ways you could tell a story or something like that, yeah, that's valid. But at the same time, there's so many ways for stories to be told. And Attack on Titan, it was mostly a fight for freedom, fight for survival, fight. If you go a different route, if he makes a romance manga, what is he gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, yeah, there's some concept of breaking some walls, so to speak. But as far as like, yo, just go to a different genre, different brand. Honestly, this is a good opportunity for me to throw this in here. I would like ideally for more romance stories and more love stories, stuff like that, to kind of be more prominent and take over. Like, battle series is great. And we understand battle series make money. The Jujutsu Kaisens, My Heroes, Invincible, all of these things that we know, yeah, they bring in money. A lot of these people that like these stories, they actually would really rock with love stories. Like, they actually genuinely would. They secretly probably even read or watch some of that stuff anyways. It's just a matter of like, you know, the whole macho bravado bullshit. But there's a lot of really good stories out there. You don't only need to stick to one genre. In fact, you might find something that you enjoy even more so than a battle series if you jump into the romance love story genre. And I would ideally like for, as time goes on, for things to maneuver in that direction, for that to be more prominent and not just like a shoujo, you know, just for the girls. Like, yo, there's so many ways you could tell a love story with including some action stuff, but keeping it more primary to that aspect. Also not going in the whole circle loop shit of like, you know, what they say, like, is it rent a girlfriend bullshit? Like, we don't want none of that stuff. We want genuine, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that can be done. I say all that to say, Isayama, you can write more manga, and it doesn't have to be about fighting for your life and fighting for survival. Do some other shit. Okay, Dragon Ball fans, we got a lot of stories in the world of Dragon Ball. I'm just gonna go straight into it. Let's do it. Now, some of this has been lingering around for a while, but even though it may be a few weeks old or whatever, I still wanted to cover it because I feel it's significant, important, and it deserves coverage. So here we go. For starters, Toyotaro officially receives credit for Moro's character design in what was like a maybe V-Jump issue or 2 ago now. And in case you don't know, it was a very big deal. I talked about it a bit regarding the fact that the successor to Dragon Ball, to, you know, Akira Toriyama's masterpiece, so to speak, Toyotaro, wasn't credited during the whole big reveal for Dragon Ball Super's return for the anime for the Galactic Patrol. Everything was Toriyama's name all over the place, and a lot of people were upset like, yo, that's great. We love Toriyama. Awesome stuff. Why no credit, no love for Toyotaro, the man that helped to create and was prominent in the creation of a lot of those Dragon Ball Super arcs, like especially Granola and Moro? He really did a lot of the heavy lifting for that stuff. Why wasn't he credited? After the fact, in a V-Jump issue that followed, they gave him credit for Moro and stuff like that. You should always try your best, even if we understand marketing purposes, we understand financially, all of that stuff. Toriyama's name prints money, especially with everybody loving him and still mourning him and all of that stuff. He prints money. Toyotaro is a new name. It's not going to attract the same thing, but at the same time, it's important to somebody that he worked very hard on that stuff and did a lot of the heavy lifting, and giving his name a secondary call out is like, you know, everybody done left the theater. There's like, you know, out of let's just say there's 1,000 people packed in that theater, there's like 150 people still there like, oh, by the way, this guy Toyotaro did some shit here too. It's like, come on. we can do better than that. So just wanted to throw that in there. Make sure always when somebody is participating, everybody gets fair credit and gets it in a timely manner. Then again, there's some people that never get the credit for all the work they put in. So then Dragon Ball Super teases more anime after new series and remake. Dragon Ball Super has a lot of new projects in the works with both a new remake and full new anime series on the way, but it seems like there's going to be even more planned down the line. Dragon Ball is celebrating the 40th anniversary of Toriyama's original manga debut with Shueisha's weekly Shonen Jump magazine, and thus is making its long-awaited comeback beginning later this year. The series will be returning this fall with a new remake series and later with a whole new arc, but that's not all. Dragon Ball has dropped a special refresher on his website about all of the major projects it had announced to be in the works during the Genki Damatsuri event earlier this year, but the final line in the update is what got the most attention, because while all these new projects have been announced for the 40th anniversary, we've now been teased about other projects coming after Super. New developments will continue to unfold well beyond the 40th anniversary of Dragon Ball, so stay tuned. And so yeah, a lot of people are hoping that this is good news regarding the manga, that the manga is going to return soon. We did get that updated thing. In case you missed the video, you can check it out, where Toyotaro updated his bio saying everything is done for the return of the series, and a lot of people are hoping that's manga related. That announcement as well, people are hoping is manga related. Honestly, up until we get Moro, like, yo, the Dragon Ball Super anime return is gonna be fun and great, and hopefully it gives a new perspective on that experience, and hopefully I love it more than, you know, I could ever imagine. That would be fantastic or whatever. But I'm more so excited for the manga's return, new content, like for this person right here personally. Yeah, that's more so what I'm looking forward to. Give me that manga return, new stories, all of that good stuff. But I understand, you know, the anime thing is a very big deal, and of course we can't wait for new anime stuff. But as it stands right now, considering that the Dragon Ball Beerus stuff and everything that's going to follow is going to take some time before we even get to the Moro anime, or, you know, the Galactic Patrol, whatever they want to call it, like, it's going to be a minute anyways. Let me get my, you know what I'm saying, manga return now. It'll do benefit for the future of the franchise. It'll be massively beneficial for Toyotaro. I'm sure he's ready to get back to work on that angle. Like, there's so many different things. Do what you gotta do. Come on. Then we got some really alarming news for Dragon Ball Daima. I don't even want to waste your time. Let's get into it, because this one had me like, huh? Dragon Ball Daima might have started out strong, but it ended in a much weaker way than fans have been hoping for. The creative team behind it all have finally explained why, and it all came down to some poor planning for the anime's release overall. As part of the commentary for Dragon Ball Daima's Blu-ray release in Japan, producer for the franchise, Akio Iyoku, explained that the story for the anime wasn't completely done when it first began. In reality, the story wasn't complete from the start when the anime production began. The producer continued, "We had received about half of the original story, maybe up to episode 9 or 10, and then while production was already underway, we received scripts from Toriyama Sensei for episode 10 onward and made those," which is interesting how, like, it starts off where it's like, yo, Toriyama contributed to, now he wrote the scripts. Yeah, it's always something new that we hear, right? But maybe up to episode 9 or 10, that is insane. That is not a way to do things. Like, I mean, I get it, you know, like for example in manga, you know, they kind of have planning up to a certain point. It's not like Oda has had 1,000 chapters of One Piece just sitting around in his drawer and said, oh yeah, by the way, let's serialize that. But with anime is a little bit different. It's a very expensive process, and it's a good idea when it comes to an anime adaptation to, for the most part, have, especially if it's like, you know, a 20 episode series that you trying to have a start and a finish. There's no reason why it shouldn't have a completed package before it even begins. So that's something that is just kind of like, it explains a lot of things of why Dragon Ball Daima was what it was, and at the same time is also like, yeah, that's crazy. I mean, you could probably throw in the argument, which is completely understandable, Toriyama was probably going through his health issues at that particular point and probably could do only what he could do, so that totally makes sense and it's understandable if that's the case. But regardless of what, sheesh, that's probably why Daima suffered pacing issues dramatically. Since that's how it went, we worked through production with a bit of nerves and suspense. Iyoku explained of the situation before mentioning he was surprised in the direction the anime went. Honestly, I didn't think the story would go in this direction. As Iyoku continued, he also revealed that the team worked on the finale itself over and over in order to better fit the flow, as it really all seemed to be coming together as the episodes themselves were being developed. As for the flow of the finale, we really redid it over and over. We were put to the test in finding the best sequence and content content, Yoko revealed. But while the producer couldn't go into too many details about how Dragon Ball Daima's finale almost ended differently, he did confirm that it did look different than he expected. No, actually, for this part of the story, who would do what in order of events, we changed those quite a bit. So that wasn't the plan for the start. So basically, Dragon Ball Daima was not organized very well. They didn't have the entire concept done before starting, which it makes no sense. With something like that, there's no reason why I couldn't have, other than, again, if Toriyama was the one that was writing the scripts now, apparently. Like, we know that he wrote, but they make it seem like it was just all Toriyama faxing them in, right? But if that's the case, yeah, Toriyama's health being a big deal is one thing, but this could have been, at the very least, like, yo, have the ending in mind for an anime. This isn't a manga thing where you're gonna get endless weekly chapters. This is a 20 episode thing that should have had some type of plan at the very least. Like, okay, it's gonna end this way, and then you just write it up. Like, that's ridiculous, wild, and wow. Moving forward, I thought this was significant. It's been a bit since this was said, but I thought it was noteworthy. Dragon Ball star hints at early retirement before anime's return. Time will tell. 8 years after the anime's ending, Dragon Ball Super is returning with a new season as confirmed during the Genki da Matsuri. In January 26th, the anime held a special event, Genki da Matsuri, to commemorate the manga's 40th anniversary and revealed several exciting announcements regarding the anime and video games. The anime concluded in 2018, wrapping up the Tournament of Power, one of the best sagas in the entire franchise. While fans awaited the anime's return through all these years, the series released Dragon Ball Daima in October 24 instead of continuing Dragon Ball Super. Daima turned out to be the last project of Toriyama and received countless praises from fans for the exciting adventure and for reviving Super Saiyan 3 and 4 forms. Now that Dragon Ball Super is finally returning with a brand new saga, anticipation around the series only keeps increasing. As fans await new updates regarding the series, the English voice actor Vegeta hints at stepping down from the role. In an interview with Polygon, the English voice actor Vegeta, Chris Sabat, opens up about the possibility of leaving the franchise. When asked about his return in Galactic Patrol, he shared, "I mean, I'm here. It would be a shame not to actually continue voicing Super since I'm right here and able to do it, but time will tell." He adds, "I'm assuming they would use us, but again, I'm good. I have done this character for 25 years. It's crazy and I'm super grateful to have been working on it as long as I have. So if there ever comes a time when it changes, I'll be sad because I would like to see Super through, but I'll understand." After voicing the character for 25 years, Sabat is willing to bow out of the role if the studio decides not to bring him back. Furthermore, he also shares how voicing high intensity scenes takes a toll on his health. He shares, "I would do everything I could to try and voice him, but look, it hurts a lot more than it ever used to. It doesn't just hurt my throat, it hurts my back and my shoulders because you tense all your muscles." While he admits that voicing Vegeta is physically exhausting for him, he also adds, "But until such a point that I literally can't do it anymore, I will continue to do it as long as they'll let me." And yeah, to me it more so sounds like he still wouldn't mind doing the role more, but if they told him like, "Yo, we're going a different direction," that's cool too. And it also kind of hints at maybe there is murmurings that they might go a different direction. Who knows? It could very well be a case of they're looking at the, future of Dragon Ball and thinking maybe they might want to recast. I mean, it happened with Pokemon, right? They went a different direction all those years ago. There's a possibility that they might be looking at Dragon Ball and being like, it'll be a learning curve, but for the future, they might just say, screw it. It might be cheaper. It might be more effective. It might be just a whole new wave that they're looking at as far as to go with different actors. It could be that Sabat is wondering why they haven't hit him up at that particular point yet to do voicing for this thing if they already announced that. So it could be a wide variety of things as to why Sabat would have said that. But yeah, I mean, I'm gonna ask you, if they recast the voice actors behind Dragon Ball, would you continue to support it? I'm talking about the English dub fans in particular, not the Japanese fans. If they removed Sabat, Shimmel, Sonny Strait, all of those actors, if they decided to go with brand new actors for Dragon Ball, would you continue, or is that the end all be all for you? No more Dragon Ball, you're done with it? Let me know. Moving forward, we got a couple of pieces of Solo Leveling news. Solo Leveling now has 952,000 ratings on Crunchyroll, only 48 ratings away from a mil. It is the most rated show on Crunchyroll. Translation, Solo Leveling is lit. It's, outranking a lot of people in that particular space. And yeah, there's been a conversation that's been going on where Solo Leveling ranks as far as popularity goes, right? And in my mind, honestly, where it stands right now, because Solo Leveling is clearly very popular, especially in certain spaces. Everybody knows for the most part, like if you're an anime fan, if you're in tune with the culture, you know about Solo Leveling. As far as reaching to that next plateau, I feel like Solo Leveling is somewhere in the ballpark of where Demon Slayer was towards the end of season 1. I remember that's where it like started to explode with people talking about it. It was like a pretty big deal. It was still, you know, an anime title or whatever, but it became a very big deal. It wasn't until Mugen Train, the first Demon Slayer movie, where Demon Slayer became what Demon Slayer is right now. And I feel like that's right now, even though Solo Leveling is 2 seasons deep, I feel like that's where it stands as far as popularity. It's like teetering into that, you know, that movie is going to make or break Solo Leveling's future, in terms of the fact that if that movie does what, like anything close to Mugen Train, that could push Solo Leveling to become beyond household name. Because as far as anime fans go, you know about Solo Leveling at the very least. Love it or hate it, you know, the aura forming jokes, all that, we get it, okay, haha. But that right there, that movie is what's going to decide, does Solo Leveling become like, oh yo, that anime was lit, or does it become the next, you know, yo, when you're talking about Naruto, when you're talking about Goku, when you're talking about, you know, those characters, you start bringing up Jinwoo. Like that movie right now is going to be pivotal. They need to make sure that that movie, whatever they do with it, whether they're going to adapt the arc, whether they're going to make it an original, ideally, if it is an original story, it still should be canon. It has to be canon. It has to connect somewhere. If not, it's not going to do what it needs to do. Not in this day and age of anime and manga. It needs to be in the realm of what Demon Slayer did with taking Mugen Train, what Demon Slayer is doing now with taking the manga and making it. It has to do something there where it has to feel like, okay, fans are continuing on with the story and enjoying it. And at the same time, it also has to stand alone, that even if you don't care about Solo Leveling's TV anime, you watch it, whether, you know, you're going with your kids or you're going with your family, you need to make it more, I don't want to say family friendly, but you need to be able to exist in multiple realms. That's the best way I could put it. You need to be able to exist in multiple realms if you want to take Solo Leveling from end of Demon Slayer 1 popularity to Mugen Train is out, one of the biggest films of all time popularity. Like, a little more family friendly maybe, without being too, you know, changing up the core elements. I know some people hear that and they cringe, family friendly. Well, if Solo Leveling wants to be the next Naruto, One Piece, Bleach type of scenario, that's what you gotta do. Point blank period. I'm sorry. Then a little bit more Solo Leveling news. You know, it's cool to note, and if somebody puts out some of the, you know, story online or whatever, it'd be great, because Solo Leveling Karma drops new trailer to explore its story. Solo Leveling's first 2 seasons quickly established the anime adaptation as one of the biggest series in the medium in recent years. While a 3rd season has yet to officially be confirmed, many anime fans believe that it is only a matter of time before we see Jinwoo return to the anime world. Luckily, we won't need to wait until Solo Leveling Season 3 to see the protagonist return. This year, Solo Leveling Karma is planning to introduce a brand new story in Jinwoo's life, as a new trailer for the story hints at what the former worst hunter in the world is up to. And that's not a shade at Jinwoo. Like, he started off just like anybody, you know, very low, and he worked his way up to being a goat. So, like, yeah. Solo Leveling Karma is an upcoming roguelite action role-playing game that will once again put Jinwoo in the driver's seat to explore a story that hasn't made its way to the anime, documenting a war taking place in the dimensional rift seemingly after the events of the anime adaptation. Here's how Netmarble described the latest trailer. We're thrilled to share the special PV for Karma, freshly unveiled at the Aniplex booth, the untold story of the 27-year war within the dimensional rift. A brand new roguelite action RPG is coming your way soon. Stay tuned for the epic journey of Karma that lies ahead. And here's something else that adds to the validity of what I was speaking about earlier. Specifically, Kaneko discussed both the popularity of the first 2 seasons along with what he is hoping to see in season 3. While thrilled with the response to the anime, I personally don't feel like the series is known by everyone at this point. Solo Leveling isn't as universally recognized in Japan yet. As a Japanese person living in Japan, the anime is not at the level of Dragon Ball, One Piece, or Naruto. If season 3 happens, that's when I want to truly break that boundary. And shout outs to homie for saying season 3. I think it's the movie. Moving forward, this is interesting stuff. Y'all already know the topic of conversation when it comes to AI is a very big deal. And apparently, Wit Studio CEO George Wada admits AI has become a threat to artists and animators. In an interview on the AI show, he was asked whether he sees AI in anime production as an opportunity or a threat. And he said, "For me, yes, I believe it has become a threat. We carry the responsibility of protecting creators, artists, animators, and others, and many legal issues are still unresolved. So we are watching these changes carefully to understand their future impact. impact on the industry. And I'm just gonna say this, I think that's mistaken. We've seen, in case you don't know, what happened with Sora. Sora AI is kind of, coming to a complete halt. I think if they haven't shut down already, it's shutting down. So, the people that utilize AI are going to have to actually start getting into the field more as far as creations and stuff like that goes, if they want to go that route or whatever. I wouldn't be surprised if, eventually Grok doesn't become ultimately what it has been at this point and what it looked like it was becoming. I think that AI, it was a very big worrisome thing, but when I heard about the Sora AI situation and what happened there, it made me think that wait and see type of game. But there is some validity to, because we've seen the capabilities of this AI stuff. There's a whole rabbit hole in and of itself of like, if AI takes everyone's jobs, then who is going to have money to pay for anything in the world, And then lastly, just a little tiny tidbit of Black Clover information that I found to be interesting. I was pretty sure it was confirmed that Black Clover was coming October this year, but Black Clover season 3 is coming this October 2026, based on something that one of the voice actresses said. Apparently, Colin Clinkenbeard, Black Clover ADR director and English voice actor for Charlotte, previously said the anime would premiere in April at a convention, but corrected that information. She works on the Crunchyroll production side too. She said, "Dude, I thought Black Clover was coming back in April. I'm so sorry if I met you at a con and told you the wrong info. It's October, not April. Our wait is a bit longer than I thought, but I'm still excited. April would have been so fire. It would have made so much sense. Shit, if we would have got it last April." But yeah, little bit of a longer wait, but again, I feel like Black Clover coming in October was just a given, and it kind of feels like it's been a drought this year of Black Clover, because what the manga chapters came out like early January and we haven't gotten anything since then. It's like, I'm ready for more Black Clover. Let's go. But that is all I have for this episode of Forever News. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'm Tim. As always, people, have an awesome day. Peace in.